Hey guys, this is Wally at Triad Powerboats. Actually, I'm not at Triad, and as you see, I'm not in the wheelchair anymore. I'm up and walking, and we're doing a little special video. Next couple of videos, I got a real special guest with me. He was one of my mentors and a good friend, and I used to be his pit grunt when I was in high school. And we're going to tell you, we're going to go back to some of the Bateman Marine history that some of you have already heard. But we're going to go, he's in town. We're going to talk to him and talk about these pictures and all these trophies and his accomplishments and what we used to do at the races. And hopefully you'll find it interesting. We're going to talk about some of the other racers too. And we might cut up a little bit. I don't know. We don't want to go down too many rabbit trails. I mean, those stories to us are really funny. But some of them we probably can't tell you the whole story. But we're going to talk about this. And this is my guest, Donald Bateman. He was the son of Mr. Harold Bateman, who owned Bateman Marine. And when I was in high school, and y'all have heard this before, I used to do a lot of hand lettering. I used to paint for all the biker clubs and was in the biker club. And, you know, I was just, as long as they let my hair grow in high school, hippie type, I just, free bird. I don't know any way to put it. And one day, Mr. Bateman called me up because he had seen some artwork I'd done on an automobile, and he wanted me to come do hand lettering on their race boats. So I went down to Bateman Marine one day after high school, and I went in there and walked into the shop. I didn't go talk to Mr. Bateman. I wanted to go look at the boats and see what they wanted me to do. This particular boat right here, I hate to turn my back on you, but when I walked into Bateman Marine and saw that boat, and that's my lettering all over it, there's a caricature of a guy overdriving the boat, and he's got a, I think Harold let us leave the beer can in your hand. But at the other hand, I did something that Harold didn't approve of, so we had to go back and change that because he was in business. He was a Christian man, and he didn't want that. I was just a hellion. I mean, I was just a heathen. It didn't matter to me. But when I saw that boat, it changed my whole life, just seeing it. I said, man, there's nothing cooler on this planet. And I'm an airplane freak, and I love airplanes, but when I saw that boat, I said, that's all. I mean, that just took me, it just grabbed me by the heart and the mind. And I lettered it for Donald, and I got it all finished. And he said I did it wrong. See, these letters have to slant forward. When I did the other side, I slanted them backwards. He said, no, I don't want them like that. You got to slant both sides forward. I said, well, then I got to make another stencil and rehand letter all that. And anyway, I had to change it, fix it, where both of them. You'll notice on this is his boat. The letter has to be leaning forward. That's just the way he was. But we took that boat. I don't know what motor's on it in this particular picture.
It's just a 135, I think.
Yeah, 135, which would have been a call to 1350 back then. And we later, Harold Bateman, his dad, that owned Bateman Marine, had a very awesome relationship with Mercury Marine. And whatever Mr. Bateman wanted, he got it. I mean, because he did something with it when they sent it to him. And this boat was probably one of the first boats in the country that got the first T1 twister.
Yeah.
And it was right before a race in Keg Creek at Petersburg Point. We took it up there on Thursday or Friday, I think Thursday, to break the T1 in, but we didn't have the right propellers. He didn't have the right propellers for it. The boat wouldn't even plane off. And he got aggravated, and here I got this T1. Nobody else is going to be here with a T1, and I can't even get the boat to plane off. I was standing on the boat ramp, and they were pulling it out, him and his good friend John Saxon, who raced on Bateman Racing team. And I was standing there and looked at him, and I said, I can plane that boat off. I was just a teenage kid. They didn't put much stock in me. I was just a pit grunt, helping them do stuff at night. Things like I hung around at Bateman Marine after school. And if I wasn't painting something. And I told him, I said, I can plane that boat off. He said, no, you can't. You don't have the right propeller. I said, you don't, yeah, I can plane it off with the propeller you got. He said, I don't think so. I said, put the boat back in the water. So John backed it back down in the water. I unhooked it from the trailer and spun the thing around because the T1 didn't shift. It had I don't know what model Speedmaster it had back then.
Speedmaster.
But it didn't have a neutral or a reverse.
No.
You had to spin the boat around. I spun the boat around and got on the deck and crawled out on the nose. And I said, plane it off. He said, you lost your mind or something. He said, yeah, this is dangerous. I said, I ain't scared. Plane the thing off. So he planed it off, and I slid back on the deck, and he reached out and grabbed me with his left hand and grabbed my belt on my pants, and we rode around. I don't know how long we rode around.
Probably 10 or 15 minutes. Even.
Yeah, at least 15 minutes trying to get some time on the motor. And riding on that boat, I was like, man, this is better than anything. I got to have one of these. And we went back and put the boat back on the trailer. And then come race day, the officials had heard what we had done. So they were going to DQ him. And Mr. Bateman kind of negotiated with him and got all that calmed down. And they were like, well, you can't plane the boat off. And our competitors across town were laughing because, yeah, he's got a T1, but what good's it going to do? We got 1350s, we're going to run those. He's going to have to sit in the parking lot because the boat won't plane off. So we're standing there in the parking lot. I said, Don, I said, we were doing clock starts back then, which means you go down below the turn 3 and 4 and get in what they call a milling area, and you just ride around till that clock starts counting down. And if you're good at doing clock starts, which Mr. Harold Bateman was very good at and taught us how to do it, to hit that clock right when it turns 0, wide open. And we stand in the parking lot. I told Donald and John Saxon, I said, you want to race that boat, let's go plane it off. They're like, what are you talking about? I said, we'll go to a ramp 2 coves around the corner. When they call you class, I said, go register the thing that you're going to run it. And we'll go 2 coves around the corner. I get on the boat and plane it off. And John said, well, you can't ride on the boat during the race. They'll throw him out. I said, well, I'm not going to ride on it during the race. John said, what do you think you're going to do? I said, I know what I'm going to do. Once we get it planed off, he can go out there and make a big loop, come back by the boat ramp, and slow down to about 50 where it won't fall off plane. I'm going to jump off and swim to the bank. And you can tell them what y'all thought your reaction was to that idea.
Yeah, I think We thought it was pretty lame.
Yeah. They wasn't real hot on the
Nope.
idea, but I ended up talking them into
Right.
it. And that's what we did. And nobody could see us. And I jumped off the boat and swam back to the trailer, and me and John rode over to the race site. I was soaking wet. And Donald comes around the corner at Petersburg Point, goes down the middle of there. He's on plane, and he just keeps running, waiting for the clock to start. Outruns everybody. I mean, just took the paint off of everybody, just gapped everybody. And then they got in a big argument about what happened, how did he get the boat planed off, but they couldn't prove anything, so that's how we got away with it. But anyway, that's the boat right there that got me interested in boat racing and has kept me interested in boat racing all these years.